I usually post. Okay. Okay. Remember. Mm, okay. We are not doing the intro song this morning because I am a little bit confused. My computer just crashed and I am here and there and a little bit everywhere. I hope you guys are doing all right. I think everyone should be doing all right. It is Friday morning and we are back at growth. What do we call this? Growth Hackers live session. I even haven't added the little thingy up there in the corner. All right. So for any one of you who are watching this after the fact, meaning like after we are completed with this, and you just want to read the result of what this video is about or about what this collaboration was about, crowdsourcing, whatever you want to call it, the link should be down in the description on YouTube, or it should be up in the description on Facebook. Couldn't stream to LinkedIn, sadly. I was blocked for some reason, but that has happened so much for these platforms the past few weeks and things like that. It's very noticeable that a lot is changing. And one of those things that are changing are the Google Analytics and the Google Analytics 4. And just one of the hints that Google is really serious about this because of the massive change that this is in terms of how analytics is structured. If they would have made this like an on top of product, they would have called it like masterclass web analytics study thing. But they're calling it Google Analytics 4, which pretty much means that it's like one of those moves where we'll have to move in this direction. And as more people are doing it, then yeah, that will be it. So let's set some ground rules for this session. We have a few people joining in, and I will present them in a little bit. But the whole point of this session is that we should work together. And so there is the document, and it should be open for everyone to edit. But I'm just going to set some ground rules for how we're going to try to solve this task today. So the first thing is that the link to the Google Drive is in the description on Facebook and YouTube. I already said that. The second thing is that this is the first attempt at doing one of these things in this setting, both on YouTube and in the Facebook group at once. Some of you all you're used to seeing my face in this group or on YouTube, and you're familiar with the sort of the family feeling we have here. We are not doing anything to prove a point. We're doing things to explore and things like that. But if you want to join, if you just get a hunch that, oh, I have something to add to that, then you just ping me and I will send you a link, and you will then be able to join in the video. You can join via mobile or via desktop. It doesn't really matter. What matters is your sound. So please don't walk in a windy space when you are joining. Oh yeah, I should probably show you this as well. This is the document. This is what it looks like. And I see that one shrew, one kraken, and one llama is in the document already. And I encourage more of you to get into this document that I have prepared. So this is how it's going to go. We got some questions from the group this week. They're all listed here. Me and Sevgi are gonna kick this off, and then everyone is gonna join in here in the discussion, and you're gonna be writing whilst we are talking to each other. So when we are hitting this question about the main difference between Google Analytics 4 and Universal Analytics, everyone who is participating will be Googling the internet for the latest, the fattest, the coolest sources for this, and starting to discuss this specific question. And then we move on, and then we move on. We might not, be completing every single question in this document, but I hope to see a lot more than 3 little animals up here in just a short bit. I'm gonna post a link to this in the actual chat here. So let's see. Here we go. Yeah. We are about 26 people watching this. Please go ahead and write your comments or like tell us like how are you doing? How are you doing? Let's see if people are writing. No, it's actually working, so it shouldn't be a problem with. Usually we have a few people who write, I am feeling good, I am feeling horrible. This morning it has treated me like I'm a queen, etc. So please go ahead and write in the chat how you're doing. So I can also make a judgment of where you are in the world. As we see, a lot of more animals are joining up here, and that means a lot of more people are joining in the document. But with that said, we're going to let that happen, and we're going to wait for someone to tell us how they're doing this morning. But Spara Cash, morning. I'm tired. Yeah, a very Swedish way of writing it. But this is the thing. Any way you interact is a good way to interact. All right, so where are we? Where are we? Oh, we are here. I am very happy to add another person to this stream, and it's an old colleague and a friend, and muted right now, but it is Sevgi Camus, and Sevgi is an awesome analyst who always asks the extra question where you yourself is like stressed, and he's like, but you maybe should look at it this way, and you're like, yeah, actually, yeah. And you have to look at it that way as well. So I'm very happy to have a great partner in this to begin to kick it off. We also have some other people who have joined in here, but they're gonna ping us when they want to join in. Sevgi, how are you doing this morning?
I am tired.
You're tired, yeah.
Morning. I
Tired is the best way to be. We have some more comments here. Christian Åkerman says kaffe. Yeah. I have a face-sized coffee here, and Yasmin Aya, yay, go Sevgi. Pontus, great. Yes, I think he's very correct. No, no, not at all. I'm actually in a splendid mood. Had a beef with Shopify this morning, which wasn't a beef. They were so friendly. Their customer service is awesome. So everything got sorted. Either way, let's kick this off. So let's stick to the first question of Google Analytics 4, and let's just dig into it. What do you think, Savi? What are the biggest differences between GA4 and UA, Universal Analytics?
I would say that the biggest difference, as I see it, is the fact that it's not session oriented anymore. The 30-minute session, it's rather event oriented.
Yeah.
It's like you can, if people are familiar with e-commerce tracking, I would say it's more similar to that. And another thing, if you want, you could show them this this page before I go into the big query part of it that I like a lot.
Yeah.
But you could show them the slide at first.
Yeah, and I mean, it's I mean, it is what it is. It is the change from focusing on sessions and page views and into measuring everything like events. And what that means essentially is that we're sort of moving from a world where we have a sort of a website funnel into a user journey. And what it means is that, so I did a terrible attempt at explaining this to my students the other day, where I used a metaphor of jars, where every jar was a session and every page view had events attached to it. And I said it was rice and it was raisins, and they used to be in canisters and now they were just in a big bowl. But what it means essentially is that events are sort of broken free from everything else that happens on like on your website. And that means that when you're analyzing them, you are not constructing a funnel where you say, like, this is the way that people should convert, but rather you have all these happenings in your bucket that is attached to some kind of user or user persona or personality. And
traits.
then sorry,
it's like traits.
yeah. and and then those the AI, as Google says, it's the it's the AI that does the work for us. It sort of sorts out which are the most common paths to a conversion. So you define your events and your conversion, and then they help you out with the rest, essentially.
And
But so it goes
one
from, sorry, yeah, go
I
ahead.
just want to add that one good part with that is that that's kind of how app tracking has been working all the
Yeah,
time. This allows to be allows us to track cross channel in a bigger
yeah.
manner. Mm.
And it's really funny to see also how they've structured the account, just looking at the way, I mean, um look, going back to all like universal analytics, it's very sort of um research based, or it's very like open, in terms of you can do a lot of discovery in it, and so it's very focused around you and your website. It's like the audience, the acquisition, the behavior, the conversion. uh, Here we got more of a classic, like almost pirate metrics setup, where except for awareness, we have acquisition, engagement, which is activation, and that's really like the app sort of, you acquire people and then you activate them, uh, and then you try to monetize them, and then you try to retain them. So like pirate metrics setup. um, but yeah, so that's and I think, like, if we're talking about the main differences, I think this one, the idea here that you talked about with sessions and events, and then it's this thing that it moves from being you deciding your website funnel to actually looking at a user journey. um
And you will still be able to look at sessions, but that's more in order to like get your attribution model right,
yeah,
like having the first click and the last click and
yeah.
timestamps.
And did you see this? Did you see this thing that they added, this parameter to an event? It
Yeah.
was really, yeah. I mean, that's sort of, I've been wanting that for so long. That it's not just like, well, you can see the conversion event and you can see the landing page, but you
Yeah,
can't really see the path between, like how people have moved through your website.
I
And
think
so,
the behavior flow
yeah,
report gets so much more useful now when you have events rather than sessions. That it
yeah,
starts with a country, that it actually starts with an event rather than with a country or a landing page or yeah.
yeah. And just to clarify that, this, like with every event, so it used to be this thing that Google Analytics was measuring page views. So when someone came to a page, we recorded a page view, and then everything that was associated with that page view got recorded to that session of that user. Now it's more like that does not exist anymore, but a user does a series of events, or a visitor does a series of events, or moreover, it's not even like that. It's events happen on your website, and they are associated with a user ID, or with a page, or with something like that. And the way they sorted that out is by adding to every event, you're adding parameters. And so it's sort of one of the questions in this document is about the data layer, and about how that works with Google Tag Manager. And so what we can say here is that, so it seems like an event for Google Analytics to move into the space of being open to the idea of the data layer. And the data layer is simply an array. And an array is a JavaScript language for a list, but a list also means something else in a different language. So we can't call it a list. So we have to call it an array. It has to be complicated. But essentially, it's like when you come to a page, what the data layer has allowed you to do is to put some data in a layer on the page that the person is visiting, such as product name, transaction ID, user ID, like author name, and such things as parameters. So they are saying, like, this data, we're just keeping it here. And if you want to use it, like the developer has written, like, we're just going to keep this data here in a container. And if you want to save it to someplace else, we have it ready for you. That's the data layer, right? We have the content layer that everyone sees. Then we have the backend layer, which the backend developer sees. And then we have the data layer, new thing. So by adding these parameters to the events, which wasn't really the case before, we can start doing things such as asking our data which post or which author, let's say I'm running a media website, I can ask the data which author gets most shares to Facebook. That's one of the things that I could ask. Or which author drives the highest revenue? That's also something that I could start asking. And if the event is then some kind of revenue event and blah, 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 blah. This is beautiful. The only problem here is that I need to know what to ask. And do you feel that way as well, Sevgi, that it is like, that it is a more like, I need to know. I need to know, like the old idea of the measurement plan was a nice to have. Now it's like must have.
Must have. And I think the good part with that is that you need to have you'll have to like land on the same page with your organization when you do that schema. when you plan that measurement, like when you do the measurement plan, you have to like show it to everyone, which makes it a bit easier for your analysts in your team, because otherwise you will end up having analysts that asks every question in case someone needs to know, in case someone needs some like answers.
Yeah. And I mean, it is a beautiful situation, because in a pedagogic sort of context, one of the biggest beefs I've had throughout my career is trying to sort of explain that a website is not just a thing that you have on the web, but it's something that you use for communication. And when you use something for communication or for selling, or you use it for some purpose, they can attach goals to it. And then you always get the question like, yeah, but we're not an e-commerce website. And you're like, okay. So you're just doing pointless things, putting pointless things out there? No, absolutely not. And they're like, so what's the point? And then we get into it. But to take the time to actually do these measurement plans has been it's not been good. So it's good when we have the Google consortium behind us to deal with it. Okay. So here we got a question from Rob Diesel. What is the difference between other platforms like Mixpanel, Kissmetrics, Amplitude, etc., and the new GA4? I can answer from a Mixpanel thing perspective. I have never tried Amplitude, but that's more of a so you will still be able to operate with Mixpanel, for example, and as a matter of fact, the GA4 actually allows for simpler data integrations with other tools, because it makes more sense to sort of dump event data into Mixpanel as well. It will most likely have what do you say, like children defects, like beta or early alpha defects. But Mixpanel would be more like a visualization. I wouldn't say I would do any analysis in Mixpanel. Not in Kissmetrics either.
A very good part of Google Analytics 4 is that it's connected to BigQuery by default. Earlier, that was like something you needed to pay for. That was Google 360.
So what's the value of that? What's the value of it?
I think the value of that is that with BigQuery, you can connect. You have possibilities to integrate lots of other data sources. And like BigQuery is connected to Google Cloud, which is like it's very cheap and very simple to have like a Google cloud storage there. So you can just dump a lot of data from different data sources and start to mix your Google Analytics data with the other places where you have data, and start to query like all your data rather than only Google Analytics data.
So essentially, if we tie that back to Rob's question, it would be like it's not that it is it's a new kind of tool but it's in terms of Mixpanel and, well, Kissmetrics is a bit of like funnel or discovery in terms of who actually converts on your website. And so I would say that it's now a better competitor to Mixpanel and Kissmetrics.
I would say that too.
Yeah, because it actually does pretty much the same work. But if you want to use those tools, I don't think that there will be a stopping. So here's the thing, like those tools have always been good at what's hidden here under analysis in the analysis hub. I hate this interface. Yesterday, when I was going to demo for my students, I completely failed. So, but then as usual, when I fail, I just started, working on it overnight. And I'm starting to like it. So it takes a little while, but you like it. So this would probably be a setting where you'd be familiar from those other tools. And so the idea here of the analysis hub is that you should be able to then, from the different segments that you have created on your website, let's say you have a segment that is Swedish conservative users. How would I construct such a segment? Well, for me, I would take people who come from Sweden, who use mobile phones that are older than 2 years old. That's for me that signifies a conservative user. And I would then make a segment out of that, pull the segment in. We will not we do mobile traffic. First of all, I would have to select the technique here. There are tons of different analysis. So exploration, that's fun to have, just like playing around. Cohort analysis is like when you do an update to your website and you want to compare the old users with the new users who came to visit your website the first time. Funnel analysis, you put up your funnel. I don't have enough data for that, because that is one of the biggies with GA4, is that you cannot implement it in Shopify. This is a Shopify account. And you cannot implement it in Shopify on the converting pages. You can only do it on Shopify Plus, and that costs like $2,000 a month. So I can't afford that. Segment overlap, that's the old, like when you want to see if these two, it's one of those like, what do you call those? Venn diagrams where you have bubbles. Intersectional analysis. Then you have path analysis. That's the old, those kind of things. And then you have user explorer and user lifetime. The only, like, there are two things here. One, you need to have collected the data previously. You need to have defined and collected this data so that you actually have data in these dimensions and in these metrics. That's the first thing. The second thing you have to do is you have to learn how this actually works. And it takes a little while to just read here and understand. Everything here has a tooltip, as you see. So once you've read that, you know which thing you should pull in. And then it's just trying to learn the new way of analyzing these issues, or learn to analyze the data from Google Analytics. And the basis for that understanding comes from the idea that you just have a ton of events that are lying around. You need to piece them together.
And I think it's easier when it's events to create segments. It's easier when it's events, because it's like when I've been trying to create a segment of people who has done both X, Y, and Z in Google earlier, that has become a problem because it has been sessions rather than hits.
And can you dig into the frustration there? Because I don't know if everyone feels the same frustration, but just dig into that. So what are you trying to accomplish? You want to see
I want to see someone who, for instance, has both, like, for instance, someone who has done something in a certain order, like a person landed at the starting page, went to the service page, like where we show our services, went back to the starting page and clicked a button. Like I can't really show that, because with the session like set it just mixes a lot of people up in that segment, and it becomes like someone has done a little bit of that, a little bit of that, and a little bit of that, but it's not the exact segment that I'm trying to like have and get.
Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, it is like Rob is saying here as well. He agrees that it looks like they're going the same directions as the other, but the others are better for cross-platform still. See, yeah, and then GDPR, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that this is a move from Google as well to move over to what the others have done as well, which is like, it's your problem. We're not going to collect all data. You're going to have to tell us what data to collect, and then we'll collect it for you, but it's your responsibility, right? And that's what the other platforms have done, and they've done it beautifully, right?
But
So
also to lower the threshold for their cloud product, I would say.
yeah,
I think,
yeah,
because they have so many features in their cloud product that has been like seen as something only for programmers or like people that knows how to like write code in order to create pipelines rather than like just click and drag.
yeah.
Mm.
And let me ask you, like, because I feel that, like, yes, they've opened up for more advanced usage, and
Mm.
yes, they've opened up for better analysis. But I also feel like they moved away from the idea that you could just go "Bleh," and then, like you can't just like throw the analytics script in your website and just start like clicking around and seeing things.
Mm.
It's not like the most difficult thing you can do in this tool is click the enhanced the enhanced e-commerce tracking, right? That's not a thing.
No.
Uh, so how do you like? Is that a good move? Do you think? Like, what will be available for this for the like entrepreneurs and people who just want to get up in the morning and see some data to get boost?
Don't you think that they will have the like insights tab, that they still will have the insights tab where they generate things they collect themselves? Or
Um,
they have that feature where you can get like insights from Google and you
yeah,
know that, yeah.
yeah.
Will they have that one still?
No, I don't think so. I haven't found it at least.
No.
It used to be up here
Mm.
in every like report. Let's have a look.
I mean, and they do have the machine learning
Oh yeah,
feature.
they do.
They do, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're adding things all the time. I mean, it looks really promising,
Mm.
and I like the
Yeah.
hover effects. but but I don't know if this is what it should be. Um, I'm just gonna read something here I got in a private chat. Cool. So
It was
I
someone who was it someone that wrote something?
no, it was in a side note just to
Yeah.
to. Oh yeah, wait, here is someone. Yes, I have an automated insights on my GA4. Yeah, it looks like it. So
Mm.
here's something that most people didn't see, or like a lot of people didn't see in old Google Analytics, and this was like
Yeah.
all the tools. And I actually think like if if that if that thing that Google is developing now in terms of the more data they receive, the better suggestions they can give. Like two consequences. One, it will be good if you've set it up correctly and measuring the right things. So
Mm.
that will be the consultant product. That's our job.
Yeah. Great.
And then it will like the whole industry of like recommendation based on the data
Mm.
will become more and more automated.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I believe so, and I mean they have the machine learning feature in the Google Cloud product as well, but for that you need to add more data as well. So I guess that they want our data.
Yeah.
Mm.
Cool. We are gonna start working together, I think. So this was just a little brief intro. I promised you that we would talk a little bit until 8:30 ish, and we're going to continue talking here, and we're going to continue, but it's time for us to start also working together. We have again 3 little animals up here. That's way too little for this. We have over 39 people watching this at the same time, and so this is not, I mean, I know some of you are going to work at this time and you're listening on your mobile device and things like that, but now is the time for everyone to sort of start pitching in, sort of the way that Sevgi and I have been talking now. That's the kind of discussion I like to see here in the disc. So the main difference between GA4 and Universal Analytics, I would go, I think it is about um, moving away from discovery into, what should I say, into optimization.
Mm.
So it's less pre-MVP and more post-MVP. Ace of Spades is back. Rosha is in the house.
Hey, hey.
Yes, I'm gonna put the link to the thing in the group. Let's see here. There. Cool. Right. So let's get to this. My activating question will be to, so here's the process I recommend you to do. Take the question which you are the most interested in as a participant. Take the question that you are the most interested in, and you are responsible to like make a Google discovery, like to find the resource that the rest of us are longing for, right? So you can start out, if it makes it easy for you, to questions, right? So I'd go like, is this better for big business or old, oh, or small business? Let's start there, because that sort of opens the mind. Start out by selecting the question that you're the most interested in, and then you just start fleshing out the questions, the sub questions that you might have. And we now have over 10 people in here, so 11 total people, and they're viewers currently. I'm just gonna make sure that I have not just oh yeah, I'm gonna change this. That's why now everyone is an editor. So now everyone can join in. So go to the Google Doc and we can start composing this. Which ones haven't we digged into yet? Who should use GA4 right away? What's your opinion about that? Do you have an opinion about that?
Me, I think that people that has multiple platforms, app and web, or I don't know, TV app and web or similar, should use it right away. Definitely. But if people if you create a property, a GA4 property, you will automatically have a Firebase project as well. Firebase is where you usually, that's the product you usually implement for apps, but you will have a Firebase project automatically, so that you can use all the Firebase features for your web as well. But I would say that people who has multiple platforms should definitely begin.
So tell me about this. Tell me about, have you tried doing cross-domain tracking on this yet?
Not on the new platform, but you mean on old?
No,
Google
on the new one.
No,
No, because it seems like that's a pretty easy thing to do as well.
Basically, just if you create a project in Firebase, you will automatically have basically a project in Google Analytics, and the other way around. So it's kind of connected to each other.
Yeah. I need to do something here because people seem like they're able to right now, but I think that people are a little bit scared. So what I'd like everyone to do to begin with, just to get off that what should I write thing, just start by writing your name here, because then you become a co-author of this document, and that's pretty cool, right? Because this document will live. It will live on and on and on. And what will happen then is that we can add to it, So Nyan Cat is writing, Marcus Lindblad. Welcome, Marcus Lindblad. So everyone go ahead and write your name, and then let's dig into the questions that you're interested in. So going back at this, sorry, I needed to just get, yeah. So what did you say there? If you use web app settings, meaning the for your property,
Yeah.
for property, then which is the GA4, you also, what happens then? You are able to then,
If you create a project in Firebase, you basically have a project in Google Analytics right away. But that's a click and go. But you have to configure like a schema for like a measurement plan as well, and choose which events to track. Set the events. I have a really good process chart for that one. I can add into
do you want
this.
to,
Yeah, share it in this paper.
Cool.
Let's see here.
So what else there? Like, who else should use? So people who use app and web, like people who have two things, should probably do this. Do we have someone else who should do this? I think that actually anyone who has like a member website, to be able to track both pre and post sign up events, and anyone who has like a member section, like I don't know how many like Mina Sidor businesses where the Mina Sidor is in a different kind of system. And that tracking hasn't really been, it's always been like, so how do we exclude the people who are already customers? And I mean, just setting up the user ID and just tracking, because then you can, if someone has been doing anything within that space that is behind login, you know that they probably already had an account.
Definitely.
So we can exclude them as a segment. I think that will be very helpful
in order to segment existing and non-existing, or like new visitors.
You can. It's the whole thing there with the first visit.
Definitely.
It's really cool. And the thing is that there is an event with per default. I didn't write it here, but there is an event that goes, because there are like default events that come when they just create them on your website when you install Google Analytics 4, and they are defined in this article here.
I'm trying to find.
So this is the main article about Google Analytics 4, and they are defined here. Here, and so all of these are the ones that let's see, these are automatically collected.
Exactly.
And so they have one here which is called first visit here, app and web. This is the first time a user visits your website or app for the first time, and where Google Analytics is activated. And so this one, it didn't used to exist. It was like new user and returning user. That wasn't really helpful.
No, and that's also what they kind of. This is also the parameter they use in order to help you with the attribution model.
Yeah.
Because I think, I don't know, Jesper, if you know, but I think that they have given the possibility to set up your own attribution model, and that they have visualized it much better than they did earlier.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Maybe we can look a little bit on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any. I don't have any data in it.
No.
It's.
Okay.
I think I have some one or two client accounts in the new attribution
Yeah.
thing, but I mean, it will still be that Google recommends like a second to last click or last non-organic, non-direct, last non-direct click um, for their attribution model. Whereas I am more of a position-based person, where I think that you should attribute 40% to people who discover your website, meaning where this will make sense. So attribution models work like this. Every channel that has given traffic to your website should be attributed with some kind of value, because they are a part of the process towards your goal, right? Now, Google has said, like, if you have people, oops, there we are. So the first visit, the second visit, third visit, fourth visit, fifth visit, here they convert. Google has said that if the automatic attribution happens when a user is a non-direct, like last click that is not direct. So if a person types your URL as the last interaction they have and then convert, then that's not attributed with the value, but it's rather the thing that happened before that. So if that was SEO, if that was SEM, if that was social media, that's what's being attributed. Now, that model, it totally favors AdWords naturally, because AdWords is a late stage, last click kind of where you have already the need built up. So that attribution model is, in my mind, defect, because it discounts all of the steps that you were able to like all the steps prior to that. So let's say that I do social media work or work with influencers and I do a broad awareness campaign. I get tons of traffic in the very early stages, right? They are now attributed zero value. So if I optimize to benefit this attribution model, I will stop doing those things in the beginning of my attribution model, which is the whole discovery, which means I'm not building my brand. I'm not building the number of people who are available, right, to convert. So my growth will go boo, and it will go down over time, according to my logic. I more prefer a situation where you attribute 40% to the first interaction and 40% to the last interaction. And then 20% to the ones in between, because I think that it takes into account both the no, they can edit. It takes into both discovery and conversion, and I think that that's very, 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 very important.
Yeah.
So,
do we have any questions in the document?
Do I have questions? I have more questions. There are more questions.
Yeah.
Do you have anything about this?
Which one?
GDPR?
No, I think it's really interesting, the fact that we will we won't be. I think what Apple is doing right now is interesting, where you only can ask if the person wants to opt in and share all her or his data once, and never again. If that person says no, that person needs to, you can't send a push notification again. At least the person needs to go and add the fact that she wants to share her own data herself.
Yeah.
That part is interesting, and the fact that the Google data will be skewed because your cookie data will be erased after, I think, is it 7 days or?
Oh, yeah, for Safari, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. and well, if you, it will, even if it's only Safari, it will actually skew your data. So if you like have Safari data in the mix of your in your analysis, so that's a tricky part. What like, do you know if Google Analytics has an answer for that, or some kind of?
No, I think that this will just. I mean, the whole thing there. It's number one. If the uh, 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 safe harbor deal is reestablished, if there is a shift in precedence in the US, then maybe it will be a little bit easier for us, because then they will not be able to spy on us, or they will say that they're not spying on us. But if that does not happen, then I think that there will be a big, like, big GDPR thing, where the European Union will collect a ton of tax. Because, like, if you yeah, you know my opinion about it. But the whole thing here is that if you collect user ID or log these sessions, and they can be attached to a user,
Mm,
then you are, you are now responsible to tell the user what you are doing.
mm,
And yeah,
yeah,
I don't like, yeah, I just think that a lot of people will become poor from this by making mistakes, like good intentions but bad
yeah,
execution.
yeah,
Big PP, right?
yeah. The one way of like, I've seen one way of trying to find, at least try to optimize the fact that people accept, when it comes to that Apple restriction, where you only
Yeah.
can send the opt-in push once. I've seen that people give like tips and tricks on how you can A/B test the fact that, like, A/B test in order to optimize the fact that people says yes there.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if all the A/B tests that they were suggesting is even okay to do.
No,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah,
I agree. And yeah, I mean, there's the whole idea of having a good lawyer and not having a good lawyer. I mean, I think good lawyers will help you do a lot of things, and poor ones will do the opposite. So now we are about 16 total viewers in this document. We have 1, 2, 3, colorful minus Marcus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 have written their names here. So I'm gonna give everyone a simple task. So I'm gonna do this. We are gonna do major links and resources. I'm gonna ask everyone who's watching to take one of these questions, and I want you to go to Google. I want you to Google it and find 3 resources to put under here, because we have, on each one of these questions, we have links and resources. So I'm going to send you out now, and go Google and try to find links and resources that go with GDPR and Google Analytics 4, or that go with the Analysis Hub, explanation of what that is and how that works, and the data layer and or GTM. This one I will get into, because there are some interesting things here that come with the Google Analytics. And as I do that, I hope, as I return, I hope that you will have participated and try to sort of fill in the blanks here. What are the problems? Oops, sorry. I think you can also claim one. You can go like, hey, this got this,
Haley.
or something like that, so that people know. And if you don't find a question, then you just write next to the other person's name, like, got this too. And so we know that who is working with what. So going back to Google Tag Manager and the data layer and Google Analytics 4, I think that since, as I said, I think that it's merging. It will become easier to add more, like, collect more data without having to write the code.
Yeah,
Um, And the only thing that worries me right now is that a lot of people, or it doesn't worry me. It's not like I'm sweating over it. It's like, but it's
Can you
like
at night?
it will be a concern. It is that, oh, I love this blog. Well, let's just take this one. Um, the whole ordeal there is that some of the data that you use to create tags for
Mm,
events will already be collected.
yeah,
And so make sure that you go through this list of automatically collected events and check whether or not you have to collect them again. Because
yeah,
all of these triggers are already collected and the tags are already collected. So maybe based on this click event, you can then use segments instead.
yeah,
Maybe you just have to add some parameters to this one. Um, I don't know. So
mm.
that's the major problem that will happen if people just toss this into the same account. And um,
And start collecting what they've already been collecting earlier and
yeah,
doesn't like, yeah,
because one of the things that like a lazy web person might do is to go into one of these accounts and then you hit tags and then you're like you know
config.
I'm just gonna implement it on the same website. Let's go in here, and then you just go on your here, you just set up a new analytics setting and you
Mm,
throw in the same information into a new Google Analytics account. And if
yeah,
that is a Google Analytics 4 account, then those things might already be tracked.
yeah.
So it's important not to be lazy here and to really think about what is it that this thing created, um, like what, yeah, and thus is it already collected? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
Um,
that's really the part with the measurement plan, and like because
yeah,
the measurement plan also have what I meant earlier with that is that it helps you set the KPIs for your organization in a way that like you get uh, you you start to move towards the same goals. If you're not doing it already, you will maybe become better in doing it, and you will become better in talking the same language as the engineers or the programmers in your organization.
here, yeah, I mean, I just want to touch upon that a little bit more, because what do you think should go into a good measurement plan?
I mean, mm, do you mean in specifically which events, or do you mean like what should the concept be with a measurement plan?
No, no, I'm thinking like both of it, because some of people are like North Star metric people.
Yeah. Mm,
Some people are BSC, like balance scorecard people.
yeah.
Some people are, like events and analytics people. What do you?
I'm events and analytics people, but no, I am a North Star person, but I think that when you do your measurement plan, you really need to like be kind of specific on, so why are we actually tracking this specific event? Is it because we need to know the conversion rate for the form we have, like the lead magnet we have on our page?
Yeah.
Is that we need to know if it goes up or down.
Mm.
So you need to have your North Star KPI, but it needs to be like uh, trickle down to okay. So if we had that North Star KPI, what goals do we have on our website then? Well, we need people to give their email address in this form.
Yeah.
Uh, that needs to be. We need to have a high conversion rate on that in order to yeah, to for the bigger picture. So the measurement plan needs to have like micro KPIs.
Yeah, like everything. And I think this image from like the lean analytics presentation, whenever they do a presentation, they always have like, if a metric won't change how you behave, it's a bad metric. And I mean, pretty decent concept. If you do something and it goes worse, then do something else, right? Or go back. and do what you used to do. Um, and I think that this, as long as you sort of, regardless of what measurement model you do, you should do like, just like you're saying, Sevgi, you should get into the detail. Like, what does this actually mean in terms of change of behavior in the customer? Like, do they buy now or did they stop buying now? That's a changed behavior. And how do we measure that? Like, what behavior can we find online that we can measure, right? So Ace of Spades asks, what your goal, guys, are you in pursuit? I guess it's about what we're trying to accomplish in this session. And what we're trying to accomplish is that we're trying to create a definitive guide here for Google Analytics 4. And everyone who is participating here have been now sent out to try to find some kind of discussion, some kind of answer to the different questions that we have. And I see now that people have been starting to fill out this document, and it makes me very happy, because it means that it was just my question that was wrong in the beginning, and not people's willingness to get things done this way. Because I think it's very time saving for everybody if we get together these ways and we try to sort of solve a brief like this. We could probably, Sevgi, in like the future, we could make this into an esports event, but it's like an analytic where we comment on nicely put for someone is in here. Look at them go. Here goes.
Can we have a British accent as well?
Yeah, I know that can. Look at them go. Armadillo. No, I don't know. So should we dig into this and try to solve some of these ourselves? I'm gonna dig into the one about the data layer and the GTM. Find a good source. The description of what the difference is all explained in this article, and you can click your way deeper into it to get an understanding of what actually how the data layer and Google Tag Manager works together. And so I will start writing here. The main consequence, or the main thing, should be that see here, I saw someone do this. The main issue here is to avoid that you send same events more than one. They're complementary to each other. Data layer variables can be added to DTM, but there are already a lot of them available from the tool itself. I mean, it doesn't have to be more than that, right?
No.
Just to give a hint, and then just adding resources here so that people can go and read more. And then if we have a discussion like, I don't think that's the case. I believe blah, 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 right? This is my interpretation. So we can have a discussion under each summary. So people can read. Here we got something. Someone has filled in some. What do you have to learn, and where can you learn what you have to learn in order to make the rest of us to make the best use? That's almost like a Bertrand Russell sort of. Is there any knowledge in the world which is so certain that no reasonable man can doubt it? It's a very long question, but I think we yeah. So here's that. Focused on events and users rather than sessions. Smarter insights that use machine learning to identify trends. Deeper integration with Google Ads. Customer-centric data measurement. More granular data controls. Can we find a word that is not granular? because when I use that word, people look at me like I'm an alien.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
how cookie crumbs?
Yeah.
More specific?
Yeah.
Who wrote this? Can someone who wrote that, can you help us out to find a better word for granular data controls? Like as in something where someone who does not know what a data control is comes in here and they see that, is it like with more buttons on it, or is it about um, having more opportunity to dig deeper in the data, or what is it that we're actually looking for? Looks really good though. um, right, this one is really nice. Analysis hub helps you analyze your data more
I'm trying to write something here.
easily. Yeah, please do. Custom reports.
Yes, buddy. Get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here. Right, you can custom reports are a way to just display visualizations of data / reports that already exist. Anyone watching who wants to join in, who wants to join Sevgi and I? And because I feel the urge to sort of work in this document a little bit. Is there anyone who just want to join in? I'm just going to paste the link to join in here, and we'll see how that works. So if anyone of you just want to join the stream with your face, you can do that from YouTube. I'm going to add it to the Facebook chat as well. This might become chaos. I do not know if there are crazy people watching and they will join. There are no filters here, and we'll just continue writing in this document together. Let's see if someone joins. I would be so happy if someone just like clicked that link that I just added to the chat and just joined us and just told us a story or something that kept people as they are watching. Like, tell us about your worst analytics experience to date, or something like that. Or you might want to tell us something serious. Here's a question from Ace of Spades. What happens after we used Google Analytics? Well, the Google Analytics have just created a new version, which is called Google Analytics 4. So you can still use the Universal Analytics, which was the previous version, and that works perfectly fine. But it seems as though Google wants us to start using this Google Analytics 4. And that makes sense because it is like what they're trying to do, I guess. It's to help more people become better at analyzing their user flows and the funnels and the user journeys through their website to the goals that they have. And for that, they required a stronger tool than Universal Analytics, which was more skewed towards looking at funnels that you had already created. So that was pretty. It's a pretty neat move. However, it has some implications as to whether or not you can like get it out of the box, right? The old version used to be you just got it out the box and then you put it up, and then you started collecting data. In this case, you really need to think about what you want to accomplish with your website before you do that, because you have to start tracking the events that they do not track per default. So let's go in here and have a look. What did you do now, Sevgi?
I didn't do anything. What?
Sorry?
I didn't do anything.
You were doing something here. I could see you were typing. Oh, that might have been in a chat. But you wrote BigQuery connection allows you to query more data than the data you have in Google Analytics.
I was about to go like nuts about explaining Google Cloud and stuff, and then I stopped.
No, seriously. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think I will add a resource there so that I can refer to how it works, like how you can do that.
Do you have a resource there?
Yeah, I will add that.
Yeah, I wrote a whole section here for it. So
Perfect.
I mean, that's a whole different thing than just the reporting, right? It's about the analysis and
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about being able to, like, I mean, BigQuery is. Did I write it in data layer or did I write analysis hub and or custom reports or data studio? Because I like analysis hub, but that's like you can create segments based on Google Analytics data there. But
it's okay if I move it down here to its own, because I think it deserves its own.
Oh, okay. You mean BigQuery deserves its own? Yeah, definitely. Sure. There. Perfect.
And BigQuery. Let's have a look what some other people are. If you want to join Sevgi and I in this, or I'm strongly encouraging you to do that. Another funny fact about what's happening right now is that I have just reclaimed my YouTube partnership in terms of view time. Yay! Which means that we will still go bust. Right. I'm gonna dig into this one in the top. And if anyone wants to join via video, that's what I was gonna say. I just posted the link to StreamYard. You can join via mobile phone or you can join via web, via your web browser. And it's really fun to be in here. I mean, Sevgi, tell them about it.
Sorry, I didn't listen because I was doing.
That's usually with you.
I hope the others listen more.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
No, I'm like, how is the experience being? Because you don't see any people, so it's just you and me talking, right?
Yeah, I think it's nice when you see people's reactions and faces, or they get scared when you ask them to write stuff in the document. But I think it would be nice to have people join in the talk. I don't know if it's sustainable. But
I've already posted the links. I'm just hoping that people will start joining in now. Oops.
Yeah.
Because I really
want to.
Let's see if I can take this one. And let's see if I discussion. Insert image, upload from computer, desktop. Shoo.
I have more print screens I want to add into.
Yeah, do that. I mean, take that in the discussion bit. You can always, I mean, this, I will turn this into a navigation once it's set up. Here's someone who has written what's immediate first steps you should do after implementing G. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's do that one. Here we have there.
Where was that?
What are the immediate steps you should take after installing GA4? What's the question? And the response to that would be, and now please everyone join in. I believe that the first thing you should do is you should make sure you didn't install it before you had a measurement plan.
Yeah, and also the thing you talked about, like checking the events you're already tracking, make sure not tracking duplicates. I was about to write something here. Yeah, features. Using that you need.
I mean, this must be the most exciting. Oh, here we go. Marcus is in the building. Let's add you. Marcus, are you ready? If you're ready, then you make a nod. Yeah, I'm going to add you now. Hey, Marcus.
Hello.
Hello. Hey. Oh, what a bass.
Yes, it's my morning voice, you know.
Okay. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I just need to cancel the YouTube stream because I'm...
Yeah, otherwise you get the double.
Yeah, because the quality of the sound was like exactly the same on YouTube as here. So I'm like, well, where am I?
That's actually good. Okay,
Yeah, really good.
Marcus, tell everybody, all the 24 people who are still in this, tell us who you are and why you wanted to join.
Cool. So first I need to give a coffee disclaimer that I've had like 3 cups of coffee and I haven't had breakfast yet, so I'm a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
But I'm the colorful Comic Sans guy, and I run a brand called Spara Cash, which is a blog about savings and investments. And I've always done all the marketing stuff myself, so I'm like a complete like measurement rookie. So as we all are. And for me, like this document it's a lot of Greek, as we say in Swedish. Like I don't understand much of it. I understand analytics, but for me the issue is setting up like events through Google Tag Manager through analytics. So like how do I add like parameters and stuff? Like I have some events, but then I click on the event and it shows me a chart and I'm like, what should I do with this?
Yes, and this is the problem. This is what my main concern is that it's going to be too complicated to sort of set this up to get all the data that we want. Yeah, so I mean, did you set up tags previously? Have you set up tags before, like when you used the Google Analytics? No?
Well, not really, no. Like I think I have 2 custom events, which I saw through the guy, Measure School, as I think you've recommended. He's awesome, the German guy.
Yeah.
So I have like a 404 error event, and then like since I have an affiliate site, it's basically just external clicks that I'm tracking.
Yeah.
So
that's cool, and those are collected automatically, right? For the trigger.
So I have and then I come to another question, which is like comparing old analytics with the new like GA4. How can we it's hard to find different things in GA4 compared to like universal analytics. Like how can I find the same function that I'm looking for as
So the problem here is that I think that it will be developed. I hope it will be developed, like more of these custom reports, but just like the mere idea that they've removed so many of the reports. So first time I came in here, just like you, when it was like user acquisition, and you clicked there and I was like, what? It will populate soon. Yeah, come on. Loading. Okay. Yeah. So, but it's just like a few tables here. And we used to be able to see just so much data about like where do people come from, how much revenue do they return, and things like that. The thing is that these ones will never, I don't think that these ones will show that. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to create your own under Analysis Hub, in the Analysis Hub. So their idea, it might be not that good idea. Is that all the reports that we used to have, we need to create them within the new system. And because I think their thinking is that every single website has a different type of conversion event. For your website, it's the external click, right? For my website, it's the download of my book. Both of those two, for e-commerce websites, it's purchase a product. For it used to be separated into goals and e-commerce tracking. And there were transactions and there were goal completions. Now what they've done is they have mushed them together all, so they're all events. And that's why they say like, now anything goes. Any event is possible. And so you define what is a goal. You define what this goal is. So that's the basis for their thinking. The consequence of that thinking is that they cannot prep us with the same types of reports as they used to when it was just our website. We had our website, we had our pages, and there were views on those pages. It's very easy to structure. But now, rather than having it that way, the new way is that you have events and they can happen anywhere, and then they cannot prepare it as much. So I think the thing, and I'm being honest, I'm not good at this at all. As when I was opening I'm learning this 1.5 weeks ago. I told, like yesterday, I told my students that see, I'm 21 years into working with digital tactics, yet last week I had to relearn a tool, and I'm like, I'm pissed off. But yeah, I understand. It's Greek, and that's perfect, because then we can go like, so what do you want to measure your external clicks and make sure that happens.
Yeah, for example. But then also, like, I just noticed one thing that I've forgotten about, which is a search function. It's such a basic thing, but it's so if you go to all events,
yeah,
and then let's see if maybe it doesn't show for you. But for me on this page, I have an event name of view search results, which I was like, oh wow, shit, people are actually using the search function on my site. Because as an like organic SEOer as I am, you kind of like expect people to just find the things through Google and not your own search function. But then I'm like, okay, people are looking for some specific content, so I should probably develop it around this. But then when I click on that event, so let's say that you click in on session start, if you press that there. So here's what I mentioned with what I meant with like you just get thrown into a chart, and then in the parameter name there you have a list, top right. And then I'm like, well, there's no parameters here. What should I do with this?
Yeah. So no parameters were sent with this event. And so what it means is that there was no extra. So what this allows, if you send some extra data with this event, so when a session starts, like this is any session, new, old, bad, so when that starts, it can send data with that session, such as, I think actually I'm surprised, because there should be like some parameters should be sent with, like page title should be sent with the event. I'm not sure why it doesn't send. Let's have a look here. What was it called? The event. It's called session start. Let's go here. Session start. No, it doesn't have any parameters sent with it. And I haven't figured out how to actually add them there. I just know that when you're in Tag Manager, we can start adding them when we're adding tags to that specific. When we're sending events to that specific website, we can start defining what parameters we want to send with that. But I have not taken the time to dig through it. And once I do, I can promise you that, I mean, either Mr. German guy in Measure School or myself will make a tutorial about it. I mean, for me, this is like Christmas Eve. This is like 400,000 more videos that I can create, as I learn these new things. So I don't know how to solve that. I completely agree with you that it's unclear.
If you have those,
go ahead.
So if you have those like points, if you have those traits or like those parameters about something happening on your site, it can be so custom. It can be, I mean, one form, for instance, is I know one, like you get an indicator on however you should you fill out a form in order to know if you should like get into the stock market or not, and the parameter is a point, like you get a score, basically a score, if like you are ready or not. And that is basically a parameter that should follow an event. The event is that you get the result from the form you've filled, and the parameter should be basically your score. And that's something you have backend. So that's something you basically should be able to send to the data layer and start sending out to Google Analytics. So I guess that it's some like a communication with the person programming the site like backend. Am I right, Jesper? Or am I?
No, my mind floated away. Sorry. I was like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The form.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
And yeah, this as well, like in old analytics, I'm looking at real time, but then new analytics is like last 30 minutes. I'm like, well, I don't know, should I update all my plugins on my site now or not? Luckily, I still have universal analytics activated. So if I can see like there's 0 persons on the site, I can update the site.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, that's that. But I mean, this should be added into the document.
Yeah.
Those kind of scenarios. I don't know how to do that in a user-friendly way, but like scenarios from a person who wants to build a good website. Because this is one of the problems that I see as well. When you wanted to use Google Analytics for this, oh man, now we're leaving. For this purpose, like the old analytics, it was so easy to just like drill down into your content. I mean, especially if you drive a lot of traffic through the did you do the update to GA4 or
no? I was had a big brain, you know.
Yeah. because I mean this is like, and even like this is so detrimental to or it's so good for looking at landing pages and like doing all of that research of the keywords that you can't do anymore because everything is not provided, but you can see what landing page they ended up at.
Yeah, but Search Console, as an SEO guy, we always use Search Console instead, because and a lot of SEO guys, they forget about that. Search Console is the most accurate tool you can get because that's what Google gives you, right?
I still think that the estimations there can be a bit off at times.
Okay.
But yeah, we have a fourth person who just logged in here. Do you want to join? If you want to join, then just write to me in the private chat and I'll just throw you in. Maybe you can bring some light to these parameters, or maybe you could add something about what we should do right now in terms of what questions we should. Oh, someone is here. Gopher, the old web consortium is working on. Make sure you enter correct details in a data processing agreement. Really tricky to change. Impossible ? That's interesting.
Yeah.
That needs to be updated otherwise. And what that means is essentially because that's sort of your agreement with Google, right? Or is it with, it must be. And if you do that wrong, then you're in a big PP. But okay. Let's see how we can sort of wrap this and continue working in this document, because I don't think that this is the best like esports stream ever, but I think that it's a lot of fun to be in. I don't know how much fun it is to participate or to watch. So I'm gonna just ask that question. Is this a good idea? How is it watching this
Implement
stream? Okay. And they will then get to respond in the chat. Anyone who wants to respond in the chat, please go ahead and respond to that question. Is this a good idea? How is it watching this stream? Is it okay? And we can dig into more questions here. I mean, I think that once we have figured out all the details, it's not that far away. It's just like, I mean, it's about learning how to use proper attributes in your tags, or in your HTML. I mean, it took a while, and then it was there. And I think it becomes as powerful as having a CSS rather than just being able to use tables. I don't know if you remember that old shift, but that was a big deal. And I think that this is the same kind. Like, now we can do more things, but most of us won't do more things unless we are working with some specific project that requires it. I thought one of the things that came to mind was, when I work with students, I like to sort of share a view, and I can't do that anymore. I can share these analysis reports, but I can't really teach in a live account. I will have to use demo account for that. But I don't know how much will be possible because this is report based. This is not tied to me as a person. These reports are tied to the account, to the property. So any report that is created here, like if I told the students to create segments, it's tied to their login. In this case, when they are creating their own reports, or when they're creating the segments here, that's tied to this account, as far as I have been able to understand. So I don't know. I don't know how I will be able to use it and teach it as I could teach GA4. And now my students are laughing, if any one of them are watching, because they don't think I can teach GA4 anyhow, or Google Analytics anyhow. Either way, what else? So to tie back to your question, Marcus, about like when you enter a report, it doesn't show what was expected from previously, and there are empty fields. How do we fill? Oh, no. Yeah, exactly. Here, now we entered. Now it now it has that parameter. I didn't add anything. Yeah, so it's probably a bug as well. Well, we're gonna have to do the reload game here, like the refresh page thing.
That was actually a comment for the other viewers, because I noticed myself I couldn't edit the document until I refreshed the.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cool. Page location.
He wants to build a good.
Okay. Now I'm starting to understand here. This is a UX problem. So this is historical data. This is real-time data, or real-time, as you said.
Yeah.
That's why it needs to populate. Something needs to happen on the page right now. And then we have, I wonder if that then follows through. This also has to be like legacy data, like old data, and because they need to sort of make that, the room symbol go. Like for anything that's live, they need to put a little symbol to say, because I got confused there. So with the session start, some things were promised in this one that they were gonna be sent along with it, like page title. So now I understand a little bit more. And what I understand is that I was looking at something that I thought was historical data, but it was actually real-time data. I'm just gonna respond to a person here. Du hoppa in.
Yeah.
Right. So let's have a look where we are.
Someone is
It's really active.
writing,
Pat Goofer on the back and say, I just want to complete this one. Do you have any stories to tell about, like when did you first, Marcus, when did you first implement, like did you implement GA4 on the first day of launch, or how did you do that?
I think it was, you tweeted something with GA4, not GH. And then like 2 days after, I activated the web plus apps thing to dig into GA4. I think it is 22nd of October. So I've had it for a week, collected data for a week.
And like, what are your like biggest, besides being confused about the data structure, which I think all of us are, what else do you think, like, do you see a better use case for this? Did you agree? Did you listen when we were talking about like the possibilities? Does that feel like, yay, we'll be able to do something, or that's just a big mess, I don't want to spend time doing that?
No, I love data, and I just need to understand how I can analyze it, or how I can collect it, and then how I can analyze it. And the thing that sold me the most was like it. So I understood that if people are clicking from my site to like YouTube, because I've started doing YouTube videos,
Yeah.
if I can like see that as a person, like if it's connected to their Google account,
Yeah.
like that would be awesome. If I can see like how many videos have they watched of me,
Yeah.
and like have they clicked any affiliate links, or you know, because then I can start massaging the lead more, you know, like
Absolutely.
giving them an ebook or whatever.
I'm thinking there is it like, because it doesn't really say whether or not this will go both ways. Can I understand if someone who has visited it should be possible to do those analysis. Like, if someone has watched something on my YouTube page, what do they do on my website, versus if someone do something on my website, what do they do on my YouTube page?
Yeah.
I mean, it should be possible given the structure of events rather than page views. But I'm not sure, because that would be, I agree with that, would be fat.
Yes.
Because then possibly there would then possibly it would be, people would be open to build organic YouTube pages, like not just put ads there. I think it's one of the biggest shames in the world that big brands do not spend more time and care with their YouTube channels, because it's such a sweet channel.
So
what's your channel name?
Sparcash. You can just Google, or you can just search aktier or whatever.
Ooh,
as well.
Great thumbnail.
Thank you.
I'm jumping out. Good talk.
Okay. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. So I started making videos around June, I think.
Yeah.
And since then, like my brand has exploded completely. So YouTube has been like I don't know how to say it, but like a game changer for me and my site.
Yeah.
And building a brand, building an audience. Now I can really pinpoint like what's my audience, and I really understand, and I can really communicate with them. So, and I also have a Facebook group that I'm building this ecosystem. Like, either they find my Facebook group, or they find my YouTube channel or my website, and then they go.
Oops. They do what? Yeah, they come in either direction, and then they end up on the sign up. Yeah, I love those ecosystems. But okay, I mean, I think actually we have. I just noticed that it's 9:35, and I thought we'd be done by 9:15. I actually like to bring you back to talk about this stuff.
Sure.
If you would be open for that. But now that Sevgi left us as well, I was a little bit mean in the sense that I ran over schedule, so she had to go. But would you would be open for having a little talk about this, especially the YouTube bit about this? I'll share my data if you share yours. A little bit like of the on the thumbnail, but let's do that in another show. For now, in terms of this, I would love if you like, when you see things here that you like, this is just Greek, I don't understand it, just if you could just like add those questions here on the question, or make some general section here where you're like, really, this is not answering any questions. These are the questions that we want answered, because I think that will sort of make this document very powerful. And we will revisit it. I will revisit it next week when we do this for just a few minutes, and maybe we made the task at hand a little bit too big. Maybe we should take one question at a time, because it's such a big change.
Yeah, sure.
Well. Thank you for joining in. It was very pleasant, and thank you, Sevgi, wherever you are. Yeah, I hope that everyone feels like we got something accomplished. As usual, this is a test. These are tests. And if we find something that works, we'll stick to it. So please let me know in the comments if this is something that you enjoy, if you enjoyed this stream, or platforms are changing. Find the comments, and then just tell us what did you think about this? Would you want to participate in one of these? And I can tell you that you just see yourself and the other person who is in the room. So it's not scary. I want people who are inexperienced to just join in and talk about those, not like these experiences, because it's so easy to forget and then get stuck in writing complicated words instead of writing something that is actually understandable. So until next time, guys, continue writing those comments. Have a good afternoon and a great weekend. And if anyone gets inspiration over the weekend, the document will still be live. I will add to it. I will complete the first one here right now once we are done. Oh, yeah. Once we are done. And yeah, then let's get back to this next Friday for another session. And
have an awesome weekend, guys.
bye. And it